Hey, how are you doing? I'm Vasco Duarte, your host on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, and I've got some exciting news. So, right now, as I record this, I'm holding in my hand the signed contract for our very first Global Agile Summit. We're all in, and I couldn't wait to share this news with you. So mark your calendars, May 18th to 20th of 2025 in Tallinn, Estonia. We're going to have a transformative experience. We're putting together an event that it's all about real-life Agile. It's not theory or buzzwords. It's practitioners sharing what's working, what's making an impact, and how they've overcome challenges that you too will have to face, or maybe even facing right now. We're bringing together the best stories in Agile, from product leaders to engineering wizards to business visionaries. These will be stories that will inspire you to action. This isn't just another conference. It's a chance to connect with the people that are shaping the future of Agile. And here's the best part. Right now, we're in our super early bird phase. And that means you can grab tickets at just 25% of the final price. Look, that's not just half off. It's half off of the half off. It's an incredible deal for our dedicated community members, just like you, listening to this right now. So at the summit, day one will be all about hands-on workshops. And days 2 and 3 will dive into leadership, product strategy, coding, testing, and everything that makes Agile thrive in organizations right now. Remember, these are all first-person, real-life stories. Now, whether you're a leader, a developer, or part of a consulting company, this event is built to take your Agile game to the next level. So don't wait. Go to globalagilesummit.com and grab your ticket today. Let's all make 2025 the year Agile truly transforms your teams, your business, and our industry. I'll see you all in Tallinn. And remember, go to globalagilesummit.com and get your super early bird ticket right now. It will only be available until the agenda is announced. So don't wait. Grab it right now. Right, now that that's out of the way, on to the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more episode of our now famous CTO series of episodes. And joining us for today's episode is someone from the North. I'll introduce him in a second. But first, Ismo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Vasco.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. I say Ismo is from the North because he's a CTO and partner at a company called NorthCode. So kind of everything is in the name. He's specializing in software development and workflow modernization. With experience at companies like Nokia and Ericsson, he's held many roles, but today he's a 100% full-focused entrepreneur, having sold a previous company and now CTO and co-owner of NorthCode. He's also served as the chairman of the Robot Framework Foundation, that is there to support the development and use of the robot testing framework. And he contributed to the growth of that widely used open source test automation framework. So Ismo, that was a short intro. When you think about your career, going back to all of those, I'm sure, many interesting stories, which one do you consider was that pivotal moment that defined your approach to leadership and technology?
So my pivotal moment was 2006, and I was started working in Nokia Networks in 2005, and I was doing my bachelor thesis to Nokia at that time. And it was really cool to get to the family, because the Nokia was really big family during that times, and joining the big family and being part of the success story of Finland. But the thing is that I started as a test engineer, and that was one of the most boring time of my work life, because we waited something like 3 months because it was still a waterfall. So there was a 6 months release time. So I was waiting three months that nothing happened because it was already late release. So it wasn't something that it was already like a mature product. So after 3 months we waited and we have test cases ready. So I was a test engineer, and then the news release came and I put it into and it was during that time we that was really hardware stuff. So it was DX200, those old mobile exchanges. And when I put the software in, it was in the reset loop. Okay, but anyway, the thing was that the test were ready, long waiting times, and then there was a huge amount of hurry in that point of time when the release came.
That sounds very normal for a waterfall project, right? Lots
Yeah.
of waiting and then lots of rushing after that.
Yeah. And then there's a huge amount of this kind of chaos around it. And what I noticed that it turned more like an agile way of doing when the chaos hit, because then you start to talk actually for the development that, okay, I have this problem. Okay, can you fix it? And then fast feedback, stuff like that. But before that, it was like a waiting. And I was a little bit, I love the company, but I was a little bit disappointed the work itself that, okay, is this going to be my rest of my life? That this sounds pretty like depressing. But then the good things happened that my manager asked that, okay, do you want to join this agile project? So there was a different kind of pilots going on in Nokia, also in the Nokia mobile side. I think you were working on Nokia mobile phones during that time.
Yeah, correct.
And I was working Nokia networks, and there was a different pilots, and I was in one of those pilots in the Nokia network side. And we started to use Scrum there. And then it kind of hit me that, okay, this is the way to do it. So release like really early, and then like incrementally add more features and take the feedback from the customer. And also when we have this shorter development loops, then of course stuff hit like strong automation. So things like continuous integration was introduced us. We used, I think, during that time, it was cruise control. I think that doesn't exist anymore as a CI server.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Jenkins came a little bit later. And we started to use Robot Framework as a test automation tool. It was still in the internal tool in Nokia. And we started to use it. And it started to make sense for me that, okay, we are doing the work and we are releasing often, and we are always checking that products is working. Then we are creating test automation around it and always checking that, okay, it's still behaving as we are expecting it. And then I have my developers also in the same room. So if I have any problems, then I just ask from my colleague that, okay, what's the problem here? Should it work like this, or is there a bug or something like that? And then we together think about, okay, it's a bug, okay, fix it, and then push it to the version control system, and then we check that, okay, now it's working. And that's, in that sense, that was, maybe I have two pivotal moments, but that was big thing for me. Of course, I was a young and eager engineer during that time, and like the whole philosophy hits me really hard, but it was clear for me that, okay, this is the way how the software development should work. So fast feedback loops, collaboration inside the team, collaboration with the customer, often release. Maybe the next thing, so I worked Nokia, I think, a little bit over 7 years, and then I worked companies like Ericsson after that, and also Busware. And my roles more first was into Ericsson was Agile coach, so we were coaching and it was more or less this kind of whole organization coaching that we are thinking, okay, how we are going to transform Ericsson way of working more agile, of course, starting in the Finland side, but also spreading this love to the Sweden also. But anyway, that was more or less this kind of agile coaching, and maybe also not only the agile coaching, the test automation, this automation really hit me also hard, that this is the thing what we should have here. So we have a machines doing machine job. So when stuff happens, then automating as much as possible and repeatable work always. So in that sense, it was already then there's a real combination of like automation and agile way of thinking, of course, lean way of thinking also. And yeah, and that also in the Busware, I was like a lead QA engineer, but that was also around the CI/CD system and this kind of fast delivery stuff. But then the next thing happened. So one of my friends, Antti Pohjonen from Nokia times, asked that, okay, he was founded a company, called it Omenia. And during that time, and then I was already like Antti and other people that it would be really nice to be an entrepreneur and trying something my own. And there was also really cool persons on board already, like Toni Kortepohja, who is the business partner at the moment in NorthCode, and Teppo Koskinen. And I saw those guys, and there was okay. These know what they are doing. So I was okay now or never. So it was this kind of the situation that okay, either I'm going to continue as a corporate guy rest of my life. Better option, this kind of opportunity never will come. And then choosing this one, and that I chose. And in that path I have worked 2 years in Siili, but that was something that after we made the exit in NorthCode, that was after that the time that I spent there. And I tried again that, okay, is this something that I want to do, to be the part of the public company, big company. But it turned out that, okay, this is not anymore me. So I need
Yeah, so really interesting stuff. So of course, first the realization of Agile and how it impacts software development. As you said, it hit you hard, and it did to me as well. And I wasn't necessarily an advocate when I started, but and then this second part, which is to realize that okay, I'm not cut out to be a corporate person. I really need to be out there and doing things on my own with great people, just like the ones you mentioned, people that you love working with. That's very important. When you think about like how you look at technology, being a corporate person as you were when you were starting your career and now as an entrepreneur, what do you think is the biggest shift in your mind regarding how you look at technology?
I think it's the cloud. At the moment, it's a cloud transformation. That's the biggest thing, that no more like hardware things, no more bare metal stuff. We are doing most of the stuff what we are doing to the cloud environments. Of course, there are IoT stuff, so that's really like tied to the bare metal, but that's the thing. Of course, nowadays, if I wouldn't mention artificial intelligence, I would be a like old schooler, but that is still something that it's helping us, but it's still waiting for the moment that it's really, really changing how we are working. It's already making the change, and I recommend that use the LLM tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, stuff like that, because they make your life easier, but they don't do your job. Remember that, and they are still really far away in that kind of things. But at the moment, cloud transformation is the thing.
And when you think about your leadership perspective, again, the same transition, right, from a corporate type of role where leadership has a certain meaning and structure, then to becoming an entrepreneur where you're taking your own risks, as I like to put it. How did your perspective of leadership change in these two phases of your life?
This is again something that during my corporate times, when more and more I learn about this kind of modern way of working, like from the agile movement, the lean movement, I start to understand that this is something that if I'm going to do in this kind of corporate environment, the change is going to be long and really hard to make. And now when you have your own company, it's something that you can create from like in the DNA of the company, the thing. And the thing is here, what we are doing at the moment is we are calling it open strategy. And it's actually, it is open strategy in that sense that we are like all strategical decisions are made together. So we have in the company, at the highest level, we have a roadmap. And basically the roadmap is just a Trello board with the items. And the item is something that anybody can propose that, okay, this item should be there. And anybody can vote also those items. And this is something what we are as a leadership team, we are like navigating our company to achieve those goals. I was thinking, should I go a little bit deeper, because the organization, how we are organizing our company is a little bit different. So we are using the same model as a lot of companies using, and there's also a whole ecosystem which is using this same corporate structure. But basic
so can you describe that a little? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, describe that a little bit.
Yeah. So basic idea that we have two types of companies in the inside the company. So in the NorthCode, there's a parent company, and then there's going to be a subsidiary. And parent company, I'm working for the parent company. So our job is to make sure that people have work to do. So we are handling the customer relationships. We are doing recruitments, marketing, bookkeeping, all this kind of managerial stuff, and keep the engine rolling. And that's the job of the parent company. In the subsidiaries are the experts, so specialists who are working for the customer. So we are a consulting company. So we are basically, most of the cases, we are selling our expertise as a time and material base. So 1 hour, X amount of euros. And people are working there, and they are focusing, producing value for the customer. And that's their job. And our job is shoveling everything else in the company. And also, people who are working in the subsidiary, they are owning the subsidiary, 80% of the subsidiary. So they are also co-owners of the company where they're working. So the goal of the company is pretty clear in the monetary wise, that when the company, the whole, both companies are making profit, then everybody's getting it. So, okay, maybe I should a little bit more about the money flow. So when we make a contract with our customer, parent company is invoicing the customer and make also the deals and contracts to the customer. And when the work is done, or during the work, the 80% of the money what's coming, so every euro what is coming from the customer, 80 cents is coming to go to the subsidiary because they are providing work, and 20% is for the parent company. And the parent company, we are making, like previously said, we are making sure that everything is working smoothly and operations working. And 80%, and from the 80%, the subsidiary salary are paid, also side cost salaries, stuff like that, and also tool expenses like laptops, mobile phone, stuff like that, but nothing else. Everything else is paid by the parent company. And now when the fiscal year ends, then if there's profit, then people are getting those as a dividend. And we are sharing those equally. So everybody has this 4% of the share of the company. So we are sharing this equally. So there are no individual bonus, nothing like that.
So that also means that at the start of this discussion, you started talking about how you have this roadmap for the organization, and everybody helps to kind of lead towards that roadmap, a process you call open strategy. We'll go to that a little bit more. But then what happens is that not only do you have this open strategy, so everybody participating, but you also have this split between what is the company that does all the sales and mostly admin work like hiring and contracts and legal and so on. And then you have the subsidiaries who then are linked to the parent company, and of course they share in the revenues. You said 80-20, where 20% stays with the parent company, 80% goes to the subsidiary. So in effect, what you're trying to create, if I get it right, is that everybody becomes an entrepreneur, right?
In some sense, but still there are no, because it's a combination of normal, if you would go to the normal company, in that sense that you are just, so you get the salary, you are not in the normal employee contract, stuff like that. And how I see this is the extra are the dividends. But in that sense, entrepreneurial mindset hits there, because now we can see really clearly that people really want to help the customer. And also if they see inside the customer that, okay, this is the situation where NorthCode can help more the customer, which of course in the end is going to be more sales. They are also taking that one. This is something what we are seeing really strongly. So yeah, our specialist owners are also seeing these kind of opportunities, which usually only the sales people in the companies are seeing. But the risk is still about the same, what you have if you are normal employment relationship with the company.
Yeah, so you have basically you have an insured salary, and then if things go really well, then you share in the profits.
Yeah, as a dividend, yes.
So, of course, this is a totally different perspective on leadership, and I can totally see how your own entrepreneur story kind of leads into this type of organization. But let's get back to that open strategy process, because I think that's really interesting to explore. Tell us a little bit more, like in a regular year, how does the open strategy process at NorthCode go?
So basically, it's always running a process. So in that case, it's a Kanban board, and in a Kanban you have just a flow, and the flow continues flowing endlessly. And of course, these kind of things we have as an example. What kind of items we have in the roadmap? Those are that we have decided that there's 20 persons need to collect 20 persons, and then we are going to found the subsidiary, and until then they are working for the parent company. But the reason is that when we are creating a company from the zero, then it has zero value, so you can give the shares free from the taxation point of view. But that's this goal. So 20 persons, subsidiary, that's it. And then this is because it's clear. Then we have also KPI for that. So that's easy KPI. So 20% hired. So then we hit the KPI, and then we can found the subsidiary. There are different kind of stuff. So we are also talking about that we want to have a business outside of Finland. So now we are pretty domestic. We have some business in Sweden, and we have had also in the United States and in Canada, and outside the EU. But this is something that we are not aiming to those markets. Those has been coming to our lab. But also this kind of thing is on the roadmap. So we want to have a business outside of Finland. What does it mean in the future? Is it something that we are founding a new company outside of Finland, or are we still Finland-based? That we will see. But that's example one of the.
You work with the organization, so the people who are in the organization, to try to develop towards that vision, right? Like having a business outside Finland. But you're not kind of planning how it happens. You're just regularly reviewing it with the people that are involved in that goal. Is that how it happens?
Actually, as long as it's not going to happen like in the near future, it's still an idea. But when it starts to be more like in the execution phase, of course, then we need to break it down and what this really means. But until it can be just an idea level, this is in the long term, this is where we are going. Let's see how it's going to prove up. But world changes, companies changes, business changes, everything changes. So we don't need to plan it forehead before it starts to happen.
This is interesting because what you're saying is, so we have this idea, we talk about it, we even may do some things for it, like starting a business outside Finland, but it's only when it becomes real that we break it down. Until then, we are just kind of discussing, making sure that the idea is alive and considering options, but we are not committing, for example, a lot of time or money into that because we don't yet see the opportunity, even though we want it to become true, right?
Yeah. And that's also that if the opportunity comes, then we can hit it, take it really there, because we don't have a strict plans yet, but that can be the plan that, this is the opportunity. Let's say that the big customers comes from Germany, and then they say that, we want to take 10 expertise from you. Then that's already this opportunity. And if we would have planned something else, that we don't take Germany, we take Sweden first, stuff like that, and then that doesn't hit our roadmap. No, that if we get the opportunity, then we are going to take that, and then we are working on that.
Yeah, this sounds very agile, right? Because basically what you're saying is, we have a clear goal, we talk about it, but we're not going to make a commitment to something that there's no evidence it will work. We're keeping ourselves open so that when something happens, meaning that there's an evidence that there's value, then you move there and you move quickly because you're not committed to some long-term plan you started a while back.
Yeah. And if we are doing this kind of, when we try to, we have this kind of things that we are also trying around our business that, is this something that can sell? But those are more like spikes that we are trying it, and let's see, does it but we are not investing huge amount of money on that. If the opportunity comes, then of course, then investing more time and money to that.
So basically what you're describing are what I would call like business spikes, right? Like you see an opportunity, you say, okay, let's invest 1 month, a couple of people and this much money to figure out if we can make something happen. If we can, great. If we can't, not much is lost. So we move on, right?
Yeah, and we also learning to the process that, okay, because it might be that later on, it might be that time is not right. That's also a possibility. The ideas are good, but time is not right. But we have already investigated it some point, and then when the time is right, then we already understand it more than the company who's starting from the bottom.
Yeah, it's. I think this is a really great illustration of how the concept of a spike can be easily applied when it comes to driving a business's strategy, right? And I think this is a great example. When you think about this open strategy, like the whole process, kind of, you talked to us about some of the aspects that are important, but when you think about the open strategy as a process, even as the co-owner of the company, and even when you have everybody on board, there's still some challenges. What have been the biggest challenges of getting this open strategy process to work for NorthCode?
Maybe it might be that I'm a little bit naive, or then I don't see all this, but I think this has been proved really nicely. Of course, the thing is that some people are more interested about this open strategy stuff than others. Some people are, and it's okay that, okay, I'm just working here, so I'm helping my customer, we are getting money out of it, then the drivers of the company, I don't care that much. And that's okay. And then there are people who are more interested about the direction of the company, and then they are participating more. But I don't see that's a problem that everybody is not participating. Everybody is participating as much as they want, and they have an opportunity to participate. Then it's okay also. It's a decision not to participate. And it should not be, people shouldn't be blamed. And of course, this kind of strategic game stuff happens really slowly. So it might be that one item takes 1, 2, 3 years. So this is always there that people can vote these items, people can put this item to roadmap, and we are discussing time to time about the roadmap. But this is something more like it's always there, so that people can check it. It's an open Trello board for everyone. People knows where it is, and also it's aligning the strategy in that sense that because it's open information and discussion happens around it.
So what you're saying is that, okay, so there are items in the board, everybody can access the board. As you said, some people want, others don't, but that's okay. People are not forced to. But those that want, they can easily access the board. They can see what has happened. They maybe can look into documents or research or whatever has been added to the topic. And at any point, they can say, hey, we should really put more emphasis into this topic. So what you're also saying is, if I get it right, is that you're using everybody's cognitive ability, so motivation and creativity, to bring up to your attention, meaning the people who eventually need to execute those items, to bring up to your attention what might be a good opportunity at the time, right?
Yeah. And this is also because now this is collectively happening. So this stuff what's usually in the big organization hard, that in the like a higher level things are decided, and then when you start to spread the information downwards, it's always okay, PowerPoints, meetings, whatever, stuff like that, and still people are not understanding it correctly. And that's how it works. Mm-hmm. And of course, because you are not deciding the thing and you are not seeing every aspect of the things, and it might be the idea is really great, but because you don't know everything, then it seems that it's not a good way of like changing company. But now when it's more like a collective decision, then this work has already done. So people know that, okay, what we are going to do and why we are going to do it. And especially why we are going to do it is really important then.
Absolutely. So basically, you're trying to create an environment where when something needs to be done, everybody who needs to be on board is already on board because it's been discussed, it's been evaluated, and an opportunity has been assessed, and then we move on with the execution, right?
Yeah. And then when everybody's on board, then the execution is also faster.
So when you think about this open strategy and how you look at the management of the organization itself at NorthCode, what are some of the key performance indicators, things that you look at to measure the success of this organization?
Actually, I wrote my master thesis about this. So this is I really love the topic. So the things what we are measuring, so we have a KPIs and we have a monthly meeting and we are showing those KPIs to the whole company. And this is also something that everybody and anybody can check it in any time if they want. But there are things that, okay, there are these kind of general things. Revenue is the big things. Profit is a big thing. And we are showing this like openly. Also, utilization rate is one. This is normal. Utilization rate is something that usually these kind of consulting companies are not that eagerly showing to the employees because it feels like it's a whip that, okay, you are not working as you should be. But in our context, it's a really necessary measure. And it is something that we are not like in a management or leadership, we are not giving this whip because everybody understands that if this is low, then the money is not flowing in the company. And anyway, 80% of the money is the people like those specialist owners. Okay, that's one. So we have a strict in this money-wise and also this kind of KPIs. So we also see that, okay, what is cash flow and how much we have in the money in the cash. So we also understand, everybody understand the situation, what we have in the, like in the business and fiscal wise. But then there's also these kind of things what already discussed that, okay, when we have a roadmap item, the roadmap, when we decide that, okay, we are going to do this, then we are creating also KPIs for that, so understanding when we are ready. And then we also put this to our dashboards, and this is also visible one. So if we decide that we are doing something, we are creating KPI, and then we are going to show the KPI to everyone. It's not just for the management.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way you're showing these KPIs, I guess, is through the monthly review of the strategy board and information available on the board itself, where you attach data or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. So it's basically at the moment it's just a Google presentation. So we are collecting there. Of course, we are going to automate at some point of time because we are ITC company and we have really good coders, but at the moment it's work like that. And our monthly meetings, they are like this kind of more like a strategic meetings, tactical meetings. So we are checking that, okay, how the month has gone and stuff like that. We might check the roadmap, but like I said, it's happening so slowly, stuff there. So it's something that if we are revise it time to time and people are anyway should look it time to time, that's not checked there, but we are going more like this kind of tactical stuff there that, okay, what is situation with the sales, requirements, this kind of more like a general stuff when we are going to have our next strategy meeting. So we have a quarterly, this kind of strategy meeting where we want to invite everybody. So people are working from the Oulu at the moment to the Helsinki. So we have and also in Tampere area, there's a huge amount of people. So we're trying to gather people there. So also talking about those things that, okay, what we are going to do next strategy and stuff like that. But more like a tactical stuff in the monthly meeting. Then when we have this kind of strategic meeting, we are not, it might be that we are checking the roadmap like that it is more like this kind of, how do I say, we are doing a different kind of workshop and more like opening the mind that, okay, more like in the strategic level. One of the things what we have, just an example there, was this like a nightmare competitor challenge. I don't know, have you ever heard it?
No, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, that's cool thing because it's something that now the idea that you are, let's say that you have a 5-person teams and the team, so target of the team is invent a company which is going to nuke our company where we are working at the moment. So be as nasty as you can and create a business strategy to nuke our company. So people are spread, and then of course, who was facilitating a little bit help there that, okay, that might be that there's a business canvas or something like that as a framework to create it, but it can be also freeform. And then people was presenting after the like a workshop to the rest of the people. Okay, this is how this company is going to nuke NorthCode.
Wow.
So this
that can feel a bit scary, I guess.
But it's also this. I think it's. But again, if the idea comes from the people, then we can do about it. Because of course, the ideas that we are gathering all the ideas there, and we start to be a nightmare company of our competitors. That's the end goal, of course, there. But that's something that little bit like our strategies, they're like a little bit more playful things that, okay, think about outside of the box, not anymore in the consulting context and stuff like that.
Yeah, and using those playful approaches to inspire new thinking can really drive results, right? Like you can try out different things, and maybe you have found already some things that you've adopted in NorthCode that came from such sessions before.
Yeah, and of course it's something that, and it would be a stupid if we would take everything in there, the good ideas in there, what's coming. So of course it's shaping our company or the culture of the company, but also way of working in the company. Those kind of sessions.
Absolutely. Okay, so this open strategy is an incredibly interesting aspect in itself already. So as a CTO and business owner, if you would pick like sources of information, could be books or I don't know, videos or podcasts or whatever, that keep on inspiring you also to think further about this open strategy approach. What are some resources, links you could give us for people who want to explore this open strategy idea further?
What I have been using, I have read this book called Open Strategy. That's one. And is it Business Agility? I can check from the Kindle, 1 second. All right. So Open Strategy is one book. And then there's this the 6 enablers of business agility. But at the moment, I must admit that the problem in the whole industry is that those books are about more like this kind of corporate environments. So if you are this kind of transformation coach, then these books are good for you. And if you have this kind of like these big companies, then these are valuable. But the company like our size, so we are at the moment 20 persons, of course we are growing. Those are not maybe that relevant. So of course we are taking the idea stuff from there, but it's already started to feel a bit too stiff for our context.
So you modify them.
Yeah, we are modifying and taking good ideas. This nightmare competitor challenge was one of the ideas what I took, I think, for the open strategy book. Yes,
absolutely.
So you can pick up those kind of ideas, but the scene is it's pretty young. But how I see it, that we already in the software development, we have gone to the agility, so more and more agile way of working. And this is mainstream. It's not anymore like 2006. It was okay. Those hippies are now trying to do something here. It's a hardcore business nowadays. But it's still that the companies itself are not that agile. So it's still working really hierarchical ways. And then those are stiff. So I think that it should go, because if the software development is already agile, then the bottleneck is not anymore there. So we should look in the other part of the company and get it more like a agile way of working or leaner way of working.
I think the inspiring thought here, of course, is that we can make our companies more agile, and maybe this open strategy is a good place to start, right? Like investigate that, learn more about it, and then bring it to the company and see how that can be adapted to the context. Ismo, it's been a pleasure. I mean, so many ideas, and of course, I would say challenging and inspiring ideas for us to think through. If people want to get in touch with you and know more about the work that you're doing, where should they go?
I'm in LinkedIn, so please add me as a friend. I'm not using that much social media anymore, so that's basically the only place you can find it. But work-wise, it's something I think it's still mandatory. But you can check I'm what if I'm writing something these days, I'm writing in the NorthCode.fi and there are articles. So that stuff I'm writing there. So those are the places. But check me from LinkedIn and add me as a friend.
Absolutely. We'll put the link to those on the show notes to make sure that people can easily find you. Ismo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us and for being so generous with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you very much. And it was a pleasure. And by the way, Vasco, you have been one of the advocates that when I started my Agile journey. So I can blame a little bit about you, my first pivotal moment.
Excellent. Glad to hear that.
And so thank you for that.
Oh boy, I bet you are buzzing with ideas after listening to this episode. I know I was. Now, there are so many ways we can help the leaders we work with, so I hope this episode helped you get some of those ideas going and getting inspired, hopefully also to take action. That's what matters in the end, don't forget that. Now, if you want to check out the key lessons from this episode, check out the show notes at scrummastertoolbox.org. But for now, I'll say goodbye and see you in the next episode. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.